It's an exciting time in trail and ultra running. Very seldom do the people currently involved in the sport have the opportunity to decide the whole future of that sport. Most things have been around so long that those decisions were made, for the most part, years and years ago. Right now, though, I've been seeing so many posts on social media and things about UTMB and Ironman coming into our sport and the ramifications of that. And that's the point we're at right now. You can see what's going on now, and you can decide where you want that to take our sport in the future. I have a kind of a probably pretty unique take on things from being around as long as I have and seeing what goes on. A lot of people are saying that, oh, well, there's plenty of room for everybody in the sport. And that's great if it was true, but history doesn't show that. Just to give you a little background, my name is Todd Hetty, by the way, and I started running about 1980. I did my first triathlon in 81, worked up to the point where I was the national champion and the champion of the Americas in ultra triathlon. Did up to 5 times the Ironman distance. Ooh, see, there's a bad word. Can't say that. But, and I've been race directing for probably pretty close to 30 years now. So I've seen what went on in triathlon, and I see exactly the same things starting to happen in trail and ultra running. So I thought I would share my perspective or the things that I saw happen, and then that might be what you guys want for trail and ultra running. If it is, you know, hey, like I said, you all that are the younger generation is the future of the sport. 20 years from now, I'm probably not going to be running a 100-miler. So it's up to you guys to make those decisions. But anyway, I digress. Back to what I was talking about. So in the early days of triathlon, a lot of local race directors, or at least I can speak for myself, had this misguided, I guess you would say, idea that, hey, there's this really cool race called the Ironman down in Hawaii, and we're going to put on races because a lot of people want to do that, but they're going to start with some smaller races and work up to that because we want to introduce people to the sport. We want to build people up in the sport. And I think that's what a lot of people thought. And so we considered it to be, you know, a symbiotic relationship. There's room for everybody in the sport. And then Ironman decided they wanted the sport. Everything in the sport. To the point where, you know, most of y'all probably won't remember, but there used to be a whole lot of races around the country that were the same distance that weren't owned by Ironman. And a lot of what we called back in the day half iron distance races. I put one on myself, which is what brings us to the story here. The race had been going on for years, never had anything said to any of the race directors. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks before putting on a race, you get this cease and desist letter from Ironman. They're lawyers, of course, wouldn't be all official. And what it was destroy everything. If you've got shirts, trophies, whatever. And so they didn't send these letters out to any of the race directors, we come to find out, till 2 weeks before their race. So they did it after everything was paid for, names were put on everything and all stuff. So it wasn't a whole, oh, don't do that. It was, we're gonna wait till financially we destroy you because we want to control the whole sport. And that's the way it went. And if you look now, there's not a lot of things that aren't owned in those longer distances by Ironman Corporation or whoever that corporation is now. And that's what it is. It is a corporation. So they're doing what a corporation should do. They are working for their shareholders. They're working for that bottom line. To give you an example, one of the races that happened to be 70.3 miles that went on, because as you'll notice, I said everybody used to use the name half iron distance, not half Ironman or anything else. And came after for that, and then when Ironman started putting on races that distance, they didn't even use that name, so it wasn't that important to them. But they took over a race of that distance in Muncie, Indiana. For years, this race had gone on. People loved the race. So Ironman bought that one out. What they did was they kept the same dates. They kept the same course, everything the same, and they just doubled the price. So how that was a benefit to the athletes, I'll never know. But so that's the way that was modus operandi. By hook or by crook, they were going to take over the sport. And at that point, people like myself were told, well, don't say anything because the athletes won't like it. And that's one of the things that now people are starting to speak out early in the trail and ultra running business. And so from what went back in triathlon, once again, the things that went back to, it's a sport for fun, everybody's getting together and doing this, to being a very elite kind of thing where only people with a lot of money can come into. Put yourself in that boat. You know, if you were fresh out of college or whatever and you were looking for some kind of sport to get into, with something really where everybody's got a $10,000 bike and coaches, and an Ironman's what, almost $1,000 to register for now, not really what that sport was started out to be. You know, the guys in 1978 that lined up on the beach and did this, that they never saw their sport coming to what it is now. So you get to decide. If you think about what's going on in Whistler, I just did one of the, or I didn't do it, Cynthia, my wife, did, Grindstone. It was a race that had been going on for years and it was taken over by UTMB. I went out and crewed, and I did my first 100 miler in 1998, so I've seen a few of them. Crewed for a lot, paced for a lot. That race, from a lot of standpoints, sucked. You know, if you've ever done one of Cynthia's races, you know whenever you finish, there is never a lack of food at the finish line. For you, for your crew, for your pacers, whatever. You're gonna eat well. Cynthia finished you know, within the cutoff time of 36 hours at hour 35. Lots of people coming across the line at that point. There was nothing. Lights were out, there was no food, absolutely nothing. And so for the people that are saying the resources that they're gonna bring are gonna make a difference, no, not really. Not if they can't even, you know, see to feed the people, when in the past, people have always eaten, as far as I've heard. So, but I'm not here to really bash anything, because even though I might not like the way triathlon ended up, or what I see as possibility of the exact same thing happening in trail and ultra running, it's not up to me. It's not up to all these people that are making these posts, you know, about the good old days, or this person should have done that, or this corporation shouldn't have done that. Ain't about that. It's about you. What you want out of your sport and how you're going to address that with your registrations and your pocketbook. You know, decide what you want, make it happen, folks.